Back to you, sir.
I have returned. Host, let me help us all out, right? You're talking about all of the facilities that are closing down. And you're giving some great advice because you're telling all of those that are listening. Chances are a lot of them aren't tied to these companies that are closing down. And you're telling them, your advice to them is for them to find possibly a greater would-be support system and whereby they'll be okay. I need you to understand something. When you're giving them that advice, the only advice they need to hear is that they are best index themselves, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't care if they go work for McDonald's and McDonald's give them $20 an hour. McDonald's is on the way out.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, global reset is going to shut down every system on this planet, every one. There is no support system. The only support system that they're going to get is if they find themselves indexed where they will be identified when the global reset happens. That's all they're going to save them. So a lot of people do it. Well, I'm going to get 3 jobs. I'll get a secretary. Listen, I mean, God almighty. I mean, how brain-dead can Americans really be? Can I ask you something? You do know that Walmart is the food chain of the world, right?
Yes.
Who was the food chain of the world before Walmart became the food chain of the world?
Was it Kroger Corp?
It was Kroegers.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah.
Kroegers was the food chain of the world prior to Walmart taking it over. They met in Davos. They met there. Okay? The owner of Kroger's and Mr. Walton, they showed up at Davos. And at that time, they did a chain of command, whereby Kroger's became a company that was tied to Walmart. And Kroger's refused to take any would-be less of what they were already getting as the world's food chain. And what happened was they got eliminated. See, there were companies that were sitting there that was willing to work along with Kroger's to keep them in the driving seat, such as Safeway. Remember Safeway?
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
They had companies that were there that were Safeway, Albertsons, Skag, Alpha Beta. I can name all the companies that were sitting there because the majority of them were out of the state of Texas. And they lost that contract of the world contract, and it went to Walmart. When you go back and do your true research, like I tell the people, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out why some things changed and why some didn't. I told you before, and I've explained this to you before, my dear host, that there was a group of people that were called the FOODMAKERS of America. FOODMAKERS. Mm-hmm. FOODMAKERS were a company that was tied to every would-be so-called fast food restaurant in America. Burger King, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, you go all the way. Okay, Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen is practically out of business. You know that, right?
Oh, yes. It's awful.
They got a few Dairy Queens. You might find one hidden somewhere in the corner somewhere every now and then. They were part of FOODMAKERS of America. Okay, Burger King, McDonald's, Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box was real famous for FOODMAKERS of America because they were the ones that carried the major emblem. Remember the little round white head, the bobblehead that everybody was putting on their antennas, had like this cone hat on his head? That was called FOODMAKERS of America. That was FOODMAKERS of America. And it used to be plastered on everybody's boxes. You go back and you look at all the boxes, whether they was going into a McDonald's, whether they were going into a Burger King or a Jack in the Box or a Queen, well, that Dairy Queen and all those people, they were part of FOODMAKERS. The same burgers that they were selling at one burger joint, they were selling at all of them. So they all was in one big warehouse called FOODMAKERS of America. And what happened was they found out that the FOODMAKERS of America, the storage lot in which they were keeping all this hamburger, was also infested by nothing more than rats. And so they began to bring in the health department to clean the places up. As they began to clean those places up, I'm talking about the FOODMAKERS of America, they began to separate their storage lockers, or the lockers. And as they began to separate the storage lockers, they also then realized that they were separating the company, FOODMAKERS of America. And everyone began to whole head herd would-be frozen burgers, and they're all would-be personal lockers, storage lockers. They have one that they call them, some would-be so-called Super King. Super King also has that little emblem that they were dealing with based upon Food Makers of America. Sky King. Remember Sky King?
I do.
Sky King took care of all of your airports, airlines, no matter what you was flying, no matter what airline was coming from. Lufthansa, all the way to Braniff, it took care of what was known then as the North American Airlines, the South American Airlines. They had all of them before. They were big airlines. Remember Braniff? You remember all those guys? All those guys were part of Sky King, which was also part of Food Makers of America, which was nothing more than people that supplied the world food chain. And all that split up, that was the whole thing that everybody don't realize they're screaming about now when they start hollering and screaming about monopolizing. They were breaking up companies that they believed was monopolizing, but at the same time, they were putting them in other companies that they were allowing them to monopolize based upon them giving a percentage to the government. That's how Bill Gates got in. Paul Allen refused to join the would-be so-called world chain. He didn't want no parts of it. So it's easy for Bill Gates to snap it from up under him and began to use it because he agreed to deal with it based upon the food chain or the world food chain. It's not just about food. It's about merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Right.
You haven't even realized, do you understand that a lot of furniture stores, and you out of all people should realize, a lot of furniture stores changed. Western Auto, you had Sears, all those companies, J.C. Penney's, all of them, they carried their own would-be so-called appliances. They carried their own would-be furniture. And most of them began to fall out because the furniture and the appliances didn't belong to them. It belonged to the world food chain. And when they got to the point that they started breaking it down to their own personal lockers and storage, they found themselves being cast out of the world food line or the food process or the chain. Is anybody catching that? God almighty, people.
Everything's tied to the world food chain.
Where's everybody been? Where's everybody been? You know, I get so tired of hearing people talking about they're going to go over to Burger King. Well, I don't like to buy my burgers at McDonald's. Don't go. It's the same burger. Came from the same cow. It's part of the world food chain. People, stop it. Stop it. When they grill theirs, over there they fry them. Stop it. You're part of the world food chain. You either stay in it or you get out of it. What do you think the farmers have been screaming about? The farmers now are so angry. Why? Because their cow ends up in every would-be so-called fast food restaurant to include all the restaurants on the planet. And they don't get that kind of pay for their cow. Their cow gets more respect than they get. He can be sold in any restaurant, any place on the planet, and they can only sell him in one place, the world food chain. They drive him to the market. They get about 30 cents a head. Count 30 cows, 30 cents a head.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
And that cow gets broken down. That cow gets broken down. I had to prove a point to someone just recently. Go out, buy a whole would-be so-called ham or turkey or chicken. Buy it. $61 for the whole thing. Now, you got to remember, when they're selling it across the counter to you, they're slicing it. And they're charging you just for a few ounces of it, $10.79. So $10.79, $9, $10. Let's just round it off. $10 for a few ounces when you could have got the whole thing for $54. What do you think? You're paying more to have them so-called personally slice it for you than you could have gotten it and sliced it yourself. But that's the would-be laziness of the world in which we so now have come accustomed to because you've been taught and trained to be that way. Your grandmother wasn't going to be worried about you making sure that the ribs were sliced so they would be T ribs or S ribs or flat ribs or thin ribs. She didn't care anything about that. Just go get the cow, bring him in there, and we'll fix him up. We'll cut him ourselves. We don't need them to cut him. But you want to be rich people. You want to be so-called people who you got privileges. You pay for all that crazy stuff. And no matter how they slice him, I tell you what, when you release him back into the ground, he's going to be the same shape. Stay with me. Some of you got some funny shapes coming out, but you got to realize it still ain't going to be no prime cut. So stop it. And this is what happened to the food chain. The people are getting more for the preparation of the so-called food than they're getting for the food.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what has really shocked everybody now, because when you go in a restaurant, they put that tip on your bill before you ever receive that bill. It's already on there. Been incurred. You incurred it when you decide that you want to get that special privilege. You want a rare steak, they're going to charge you for a rare steak. They're going to charge you for it. They don't have to cook him that long. They just cook him a short time. Bring him straight out to you for $17. So if the guy beside you want it well done, he's still paying $17 for it, and it's well done. You just believe that your steak is so rare, and it's right the way you want it. You still paying the same $17.50. You might as well have ate it raw. And you don't even understand that you're paying for the preparation, not for the meat. But the meat's the same price. Global reset is happening. Everyone on this planet recognizes it, but the United States of America. You know why? Because everybody on this planet recognizes the laws of God except for the United States of America. Everybody on this planet recognizes female versus male except for the United States of America. Everyone on this planet recognizes war and what is known as peace except for the United States of America. Everybody on this planet recognizes hate versus love. Everybody except for the United States of America. Everybody on this planet recognizes the fact that we got different nationalities, different personalities, different groups of people, everybody but the United States of America. Everybody on the planet recognizes the difference between dead and alive, except for the United States of America. Am I making myself clear?
Yes, sir.
You know something? I can say to the United States of America, that's one of the reasons I don't do numbers. We don't have enough time on this planet. Neither are we going to ever get enough time on this planet to explain all of the truth to the brain-dead Americans of this so-called world, where they will understand that they are getting no preferential treatment. They're getting no special treatment. They're getting no treatments whatsoever that's going to put them above anybody else on this planet. And I don't know when they're going to be able to recognize that. I believe they never will. They will die dumb and idiots. America will. America tears up a whole field of nothing more than grass, growing vegetation. They tear it up just to put down new soil and put vegetation on top of it. I don't understand them. And the vegetation that they put on top of it gets bugs in it. It gets worms in it. The soil is decontaminated. You can't even lay out in the grass like you used to lay out in the grass. Why? Because the bugs are going to get on you for the simple fact they don't want to be in the grass. Because the grass is so contaminated, so chemicalized, they'd rather be on your body than be in the grass. They're not getting on your body because they're looking for some place to bite or someone to hang on. They're looking for a cleaner place. You come out there smelling like Rose of Sharon and lay in the grass, yeah, they're going to jump on you. They don't want to be in that chemical grass in which you done throw it out in the yard. They take a ride on your body to get out of the chemical. Stay with me. God Almighty. Our people are going to be brain dead for a long time. I realize that. Americans, they're going to be brain dead. That's why they believe they are a nation. They're brain dead. They've been brainwashed. You can't just ordinarily now put an animal outside. You're right, they're going to come and take you to jail for animal abuse. Because you've been treating him like he's a child now. You've been treating him like a kid. You put a dog outside now and he ain't used to being outside. He'll freeze. He'll freeze in the weather when it's 65 below. You know why? Because he's been living in your house since he was a baby out of his mama. He's been living in your house when it was 72 degrees year round. And now you think you're going to put him outside in the 65-degree weather? He'll freeze. If you put him out there and it's 82, he's going to die. He's going to burn up. Because he's been living all of his life in your house at 72 degrees year round. Then you wonder why you take him to the vet and they tell you he's overweight. He's been eating steaks. He's been laying up on your couch. He's been sleeping in your bed. He's been drinking your milk straight out of a baby bottle. And now you expect him to be an animal? You done lost your mind. You're going to jail for animal abuse. I'm just telling you right now. Listen, can you imagine the people when I was living down south, bringing all our would-be so-called calves in the house? We're talking about baby cows. And keep them in the country right now, especially my Caucasian brothers, I think they done lost their mind. They're not farmers. They foreigners, but they're not farmers. Anytime you got a barn outside and it's 72 degrees year-round in that barn, that's not a barn at all. That's a hotel. And you can't expect to put them cows out there and let him roam around and eat some free grass, and then you wonder why the others are up and they're twirling and circling around your house. They wait for him to drop because he's sweating his back off. All of his reels are beginning to cave in because he's sweating because you got him out here in 82-degree weather. He's been living in your brand new barn where you keep it 72 degrees year-round. Stay with me. God Almighty. Bring their people. Wake up, please, so we can move on. So we can get this reset over with. Wake up. Stop it. You worried about why your children got asthma? Half of them ain't never been outside. Half of them never been outside. They got their own movie theater in the house. Stay with me. They got their own playground upstairs. Stay with me. They got their own movie theater in their bedroom. Stay with me. They got a restaurant right there in their house, right? What you call, used to be a kitchen. It's a restaurant now. They order what they want. The cook comes in and makes sure that they eat. The nanny makes sure that their plates are picked up. That ain't nothing but a waitress. Stay with me. And then you expect for them to be able to go outside and play a nice game of croquet with their friends. They're going to die out there. They've been living in 72. There you go. 72 degrees year-round. And you expect now for them to go outside and play. I don't think so. Not going to happen. Not unless they got them. You're right. They got to have it. Better keep it close by. They need to be breathing on that little thing all day long. Because if they go outside, they're going to need it. They're going to need that little, yep, they're going to need that little hand to help pump. Because they've been living in 72-degree temperature year-round. They can't take that 82-degree weather. You kick them out there in this other 65, they're going to freeze. Because you don't give them that exposure anymore. Not all of you, I can hear y'all screaming, not all of you. Some of you, I understand, you're still being parents. The ones that's being forced, they would say, by their government, they have to regulate their house and do what the government tells them to do. Stop accepting their government assistance and you won't have to worry about that. Get on your own time. Put yourself on your own schedule. Get off their schedule and you'll be okay. I got work to do. God Almighty. We got work to do. Can someone help me? Is that okay? Can I get a few hands? One or two. You might have to use no more than one or two fingers. I see all my Caucasian brothers' hands went up. They thinking about just one finger for about 6 pounds of pressure. I know what they talking about. I ain't somebody shoot nobody. I need you to just give me your hand so we can work and get this thing finished. That's all I need you to do. I need you to use your mind. Use that box that my father put inside your head that's called a brain. Who cares if the box is empty? We'll put a couple of cents inside of it. You'll be okay. I need you to use it, though. For real. Because we got work to do. We got work to do. We got wars and rumors of wars. We got mothers that are becoming more and more every day against their daughters. We got fathers that are coming more and more every day just like their sons are doing them. And they're becoming divided right now. Trust me, you're looking at all the celebrities and they're claiming that they're so together with their children and I'm telling you right now, it's a mess. They're destroying, they're swearing at each other, they're going off on each other. You got 10-year-olds sitting in the house, cursing their mom and their dad out, telling them, you need to put on some clothes, and you need to stop having women around you that don't know how to put on clothes. I'm just telling you what's happening right now. It's a total chaotic mess. They stop talking about this stuff in the church. They don't talk about it no more in the church. It would be embarrassing. And the preacher, he don't want to feel that way. He don't want to feel embarrassed. He don't want to feel like he's saying some things that might be offending people. He's trying to get paid to. He got that new Rolls Royce outside. Got to be paid for. So he just shut up and do what the congregation tell him to do. He can't say nothing. First lady, she got a brand new Mercedes out there. That thing got to be paid for. He just shut up and make sure that the payment gets there. That's all he's doing. I got work to do. I'm just telling you, I got work to do. I'm looking outside my window. Done got dark. United States of America done got dark. But, yeah, you're right. There's a candle outside there sitting on a little small desk. The desk is raggedy as it can be. No, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to let it fall either. No, the little old man, he definitely ain't going to let it fall. He's sitting there right there in front of him, smiling, thumbs up, shaking his head up and down. Yes, we got this. I got to go go get with him, though. Remember the light, the candle, tells me that it's light, gives me a little bit more daytime. Man must work while it's still day, for night coming, no man can work. My work must go on. Yours has come to a close, America, at this moment. I say to you, go ahead, lay down, raise your head. Find you one of them good fluffy pillows. You know what I'm saying? My pillow. That was the name of the pillow. My pillow. Get you one of them My Pillows. Kick back, lay your head on. I don't care what happens. They're going to have the trial. If he goes to jail, he goes to jail. I just say put some money on his book and we keep it moving. But anyway, meantime, get you some rest. Don't worry about all of that. That ain't your problem. Get you some rest. Close your eyes. Lay back. Remember, tell someone that you're close to tonight, that you love them. It's very important. Meantime, I got night shift. I'll watch you. Go ahead, do what you got to do. Get some sleep. Hey, you bad boys, you bad girls. I didn't mean that in any kind of way. You just think you just do what you want to do. Slow it down. Think about it. You might, really, really do something that is going to affect others. And you want to be respectful of that. Meantime, get your rest. Peace and love. Good night, folks.
Thank you, YAHOSHUA. And thank you, family, for joining us. Well, tomorrow morning is Monday morning and the UN conference call. So we look forward to being with many of you at that time as well. In the meantime, darkness has fallen across this land. That means we have an opportunity to get some rest. Build up your strength. You're going to need it. Sit down, grab your brownie or some popcorn, and whatever your favorite beverage is, stay out of the way and watch the show. Lots coming at you. We love you, family, and we always leave you with John 17:14 through 17. I, YAHOSHUA, have given them your word, Father Yah, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth, Father Yah. Your word is truth.